Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and today I'm going to be talking about how to promote your album before it even comes out. In other words, how to create a promotion strategy leading up to the day of your album, EP, or single release date. So full disclosure, I was paid to write about this topic for ConvertKit. I'm really proud of that article. They put together some lovely graphics, including this really cool timeline. So please check that out. I put the link to that article in the video description. I was talking about disclosure. ConvertKit did not pay me to do this video. I'm doing it because I thought you all might like the content, and some people prefer to absorb their educational content via video versus reading, which is a very legitimate way to learn things. So let's get into it. When I was pitched this article, they wanted me to kind of talk about like 2 months, 1 month, and 1 week before your album is released. And I just have to tell you, if you are only thinking about how to promote your album 2 or 1 months or even 1 week before it comes out, you're falling a little bit behind. I understand the inclination for one to just, it's here. It's created. It's in, maybe it's in my hands in like a USB drive or something, probably not as a CD. I want to get it out into the world. Totally understandable, but if you can't rush these things because there are processes in place that are bigger than you or I, and we have to respect those processes because there's just not a way to cut that line. So we should start at least 6 months before our album release date. I wrote this a while ago, and it used to be about a 3 to 4 lead month on vinyl. COVID kind of bumped it to 6, and now it's more like 8 to 10. So if you intend on pressing vinyl, you really need to schedule that out ahead of time. It's really unfortunate that a lot of indie artists, independent artists, are being kind of priced out or pushed out of some of these vinyl pressing plants in favor of bigger clients who are doing dumb things like re-releasing records that you can buy in a dollar bin. But because, they want to make their money from, like the labels, I should say, want to make new money, and they're not getting paid when someone goes to Sonic Boom Records and pays a couple bucks for a used record, or goes to Kemper Sound in Port Townsend and buys a used record. Big shout out to our Washington vinyl stores. So yes, that's kind of one of the first things you need to do, because you got to figure out, one, what are you printing of your record? Are you printing vinyl? Are you pressing CDs? Are you having cassette tapes made? So reach out to different vendors, get pricing, get them nailed down on a timeline, leave at least a few weeks of lead time. Of course, cassette tapes are also a little backed up. I feel like CDs are pretty fast. If you're comfortable releasing your album without physical vinyl in hand, like if you think your fans will like understand that like this vinyl is a pre-sale and it's expected after the album comes out, that's something that you may choose to do. Cool. So that kind of factors in. I kind of got ahead of myself. The first thing you really need to do is you need to set your budget. If you're an independent artist without label support, I think you have a pretty good understanding of the amount of money you have, and if you're comfortable spending. At this point, you definitely need to save some money aside for touring, at least to get you through the first couple days of your tour before hopefully you collect money from shows and merch sales that will propel you hopefully through the rest of your tour. If you have a label, work with them on the budget. They really should be helping you with this. So yeah, maybe try and negotiate some things. Don't give up your songwriting royalties or anything like that en masse. Don't change your splits or anything like that, because that will come back to bite you in the ass later. But work with that label, see what money they can like invest in you, and how that affects your recoupables. Because if your record label loans you money, it is indeed a loan. They are not giving it to you out of the kindness of their hearts. They expect you to make that money back for them. So finalizing your promotional budget, lining up physical and distribution. You can actually wait about, you want to get your money up on DistroKid, save 7% of your DistroKid membership with, by going to the URL, distrokid.com/VIP/get offset, link in the video description. Really, you have to do that more like a month before. It doesn't hurt to get that lined up, really, especially if you already have like a DistroKid account, or something like that. But, just at least know what you're going to do and know when you're going to upload it. Because if you want to wait a little bit, like a month out, that's absolutely fine. If you don't have a DistroKid membership currently or something like that, that's more of a subscription based or an annual payment to keep your music live. You will want to wait until you have to get these services. Otherwise, you're kind of paying for nothing for a number of months. And we don't want you to do that for 6 months. You should get your website or your landing page in order. I talk about this in the ConvertKit blog. ConvertKit has landing pages if you use their email software. It basically collects email addresses, so that when the album is released or is on sale, you can collect those. At this point, I would think that collecting email addresses, would be really, really beneficial to use an artist in your promotion, because then, these are people who obviously already like you, and they're going to open your emails. It seems like they're probably going to give a shit, right? So collect some email addresses if you want. I think that's a very smart thing to do. Funneling people to your social media sites is another good thing. To collect those email addresses, I would just say at this point, let them either give them a download of a song, perhaps a demo, perhaps something like that, or just tell them they'll be the first to know. Maybe offer them a 10% discount or something, or free shipping when the album does come out. So just be creative. You're really only limited by your own creativity when it comes to many of these promotional aspects. All right. Speaking of promotional assets, now's the time to start brainstorming. Like, what kind of things do you want to create? Do you want to do a video for each song on your album, like Sunday Crush did? Cool. You should do that. It takes a while. You're also going to want to think about like photo shoots, about album art if you haven't already. Are you going to like create memes? Like, how are you going to promote this record in terms of video and image and illustration assets? Now's the time to think about that 6 months in advance. Next, you start planning your tour. 6 months is a pretty long time out, but it's a good idea at this point. Clubs, as they open, are pretty full up, booked in a lot of places, it seems. So the earlier you can get on their radar, or the earlier you can work with friendly bands, other bands, to line up perhaps a joint tour, the earlier is better on that. At least start putting out feelers at this point. And then you're also going to want to get PR started. That's your publicist. So your publicist is going to reach out to journalists. Some of them reach out to DJs, radio station promo. Like, what kind of promo do you want? Do you want radio station promo that's really hitting those markets you're covering on your tour? Then you need to look for an agency that does that, or a person who does that. If you're more concerned with like really getting in front of these vinyl heads, then you want a publicist who specializes in that. So think about what you want from a publicist, think about what your budget is, and start talking to some people, because it can I don't think very many publicists will pick you up with less than 3 months lead time on promo, because it takes that long for them to get their list together, and just basically put together a game plan that they can act on when the album does indeed come out. Neat. So that gets us in that 6 month time frame. Next, we're looking at what we want to do 3 months in advance. So first, formally announce your release date after checking with vinyl printing, after maybe having a conversation with a publicist. More on that later. Just announce it. It's time. It really is. It's time. So after that, like, just make sure at 3 months out, you're starting to finalize those creative assets of those videos, especially can take a long time to edit. As someone who does videos, I can attest, it takes a long time to edit a demo. It takes a long time to edit a video with different scenes that tells a story and stuff. The other week I published, sorry, I'm scratching. I got allergies. Check out my other video about how to create an EPK, because this is the point that you're going to want to do that if you don't have your own publicist. So if you do hire a publicist, they should create an EPK for you. If you don't have a publicist, you're doing this on your own. Check out my video about what you need to include in that. Check out my article on ConvertKit about how to create an EPK for free with ConvertKit. And now's the time to start reaching out to press assets. So how do you find those press assets? See who's covered similar bands to you. See who covers music and in your genre. Don't, listen. Don't email everybody under the sun. If you send an email that just doesn't make any sense, if you send your grindcore band to someone who covers pop music, they're not going to cover your band. It's not a good look. And journalists talk. They talk to each other. Surprise, people talk to each other. And it's just not a great look. So don't do that. It's like going on a dating website and just messaging every woman on the app the word hey. It doesn't work. Stop doing it. It's just annoying. These people get so many emails every day. But yeah, email the journalists, DJs, whoever is on your press outreach list. That could be its own video on how to make that. Let them know that the album's coming out. Let them know if there are any tour plans. You might not be able to announce it yet, but you might be able to say we're going on tour with so and so in the fall after the album release. And they might file that away. It might be a little bit early, but you'll be getting in front of them a little bit sooner. I think I already mentioned this, but just confirm that those records, those CDs, those tapes are on schedule. Cool. 1 to 2 months out, firstly, your album should be available for pre-sale by now. Honestly, it should have been available for pre-sale the moment you announced it. But especially if you were still kind of unsure of vinyl schedules or something like that, you might push the pre-sale just a little bit, to make sure that you have a good timeline that you're communicating with people as soon as they put in an order. Because if you're honest, if you say, hey, you can buy this now, the album's out in a couple months, the vinyl's expected 3 months after that, the communication is key. And if your vinyl is delayed that much, make sure people have access to a digital download code or something like that. And maybe consider shipping shirts or hats or whatever. Speaking of selling things, bundles work great. It's a great way to get a little bit of extra revenue and a little extra support from your fans. So bundle those albums with shirts, hats, socks, coffee, stuff that makes sense. And offer it to people, because there are people who are going to want to support you more than others. And if all they can do to support you is buy the record, even if they want to do more, they're probably not, because you're not giving them away to. So give people ways to support you financially. So you're going to want to release your first single probably at this point. So again, reach out to those press targets. Say, here's a music video. I recommend trying to work with at least one or two at a time. See if somebody would be willing to premiere the single. Big Takeover is a popular place for music premieres. Sunday Crush has had a few KEXP premieres in addition to a Big Takeover premiere, and then a few other premieres on some other more niche publications. So that's a good way to just get in front of those new audiences. And you're giving the journalist or the publication something kind of extra that's good for them. It's good to have the premiere. It's good to have the jump on other publications. So offer that to a few different sources. You're also going to want to start your countdown on social, probably at first just like a couple reminders, maybe a 2-month out post, a 1-month out post. We'll get to more of that later. But start letting people know that indeed there's a countdown and you can pre-order the album. Also send out an email to those email addresses you collected earlier, and hopefully that'll convert some folk. This is a good time to follow up with any interested press contacts, as I mentioned before. It's also a good time to start to pitch Spotify playlists. If you go through something like DistroKid, so how that works is DistroKid puts your music onto Spotify. If you schedule it out, you log into your Spotify artist portal. If you don't have one, you can create one. You just need a little bit of help from DistroKid, especially if you don't have any music up on there yet. But DistroKid has a step-by-step process of how to create and claim your artist page, even if you don't have any music up. But once you do, you can pick one song from an upcoming release that you can pitch to Spotify editorial playlists. And editorial playlists are a huge promotional opportunity for musicians. I have another article about how to pitch to these playlists, how to get on them, but you have to do it at least 3 weeks before your album comes out. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So that's one thing that you absolutely have to look to a month or two before your album comes out. And last 1 to 2 months before, really start promoting that tour if you can. And especially, hopefully you're having an album release party. Now's the time to really start pushing on that and try to sell out whatever venue you've booked for your album release party. It's going to be fun. We released an album during the pandemic. We didn't get one. Was kind of sad about that. My friends Rat Boys basically had their album release party and then had to cancel their whole tour. So bummer about that one. But at least they had those release parties. Yeah, at least they had them. Now we're up to 1 week out. We're almost there. We're in the home stretch. Ship those pre-orders. Ship the pre-orders. Just ship them. Ship them soon. Maybe even 2 weeks in advance. Like, you don't know, like, the mail's taking longer right now. Giving a little bit of extra time, especially if you're using USPS media mail for CDs and vinyl. Sometimes that shit shows up in 3 days and sometimes it shows up in 3 weeks. So, and you don't get a tracking number with media mail. You do with priority. One quick thing I will say about media mail is they will open these up sometimes. Okay? So, you cannot have, like, media, when they say media, they mean media. They mean a record, a CD, or a bunch of books, or a bunch of CDs, CDs and books and tapes and DVDs. They don't want you to bundle your shirt in there. So if somebody bought a bundle, you cannot ship that via media mail because USPS will open that up. And I honestly forget what happens. I don't know if they throw it away or whatever, but it won't work. And that's just, like, that's not a risk worth taking. So, yeah, I know media mail's really cheap. I get the temptation to ship that bundle together in a media mail package. Don't do it. Don't do it. Unless you live on the wild side. And I respect it, but damn, I'd be pissed if I didn't get my bundle because you're trying to save an extra $4. And also then it would cost you more to have to reship everything to me. So, the hole in the cup is over here. I don't usually use the lid with this. All right. So, 1 week out, you also want to keep up the momentum. At this point, I think it'd be fine to post, like, every day, like a countdown sort of thing. I'm a big fan of countdowns. I think it really cements in people's brains when it's happening. Albums are released on Fridays now, which is more fun than Tuesdays, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't have anything to do with anything. It was just a weird change that I had to get used to in my life. But yeah, so there I go. Promote your release party. Yeah. Have you noticed that these lists are getting shorter the closer that you get to release? And that's kind of the point, because for your launch, the one thing you really need to do is enjoy the moment. You know, hopefully you've sold out that release show. Hopefully you've sold and shipped a bunch of copies of your record. Like, this is a momentous occasion that not everybody gets to enjoy. Not everybody who makes music releases an album ever. Not everybody who plays music is part of a release show or party or anything like that. So it's like, if you work in events, there's a level of success that happens as long as the event takes place. Like, a lot of stuff can go wrong. Like, maybe vendors don't show up. Maybe bands don't show up. Maybe, you know, the fencing fell over, but at least nobody got hurt. You know, especially in the first year of an event, if it happens, even if nobody shows up really, it's considered a success because you did the thing. And, you know, maybe this record won't go platinum. Odds say it probably won't. Sorry to tell you. But if you are in music because you want your music to go platinum, I don't know what to tell you. That's, I don't think that should be the goal. I think that the ultimate goal as a musician is to make a living on your music. That's a dream. And that's something that not a lot of people can do. But if you are an independent artist and this is like something you do on the side, and like, yeah, you would love to be able to make a living doing this, I mean, you need to release the album first, and then you also just need to have a little bit of pride in yourself for doing the thing. Because as I get older, I have less and less respect for people who talk the talk and don't do the thing. Like, it happens a lot on this channel. I just have very little patience these days with people who don't just do it. Like, it's easier than ever to record your own music. The internet has democratized a lot of elements of society. You don't need a label to even distribute your music. You don't need a label to put your music on Spotify and Tidal and iTunes. You don't need a label to get your record in indie stores. You just have to go to the indie store and say, I have a record. Will you please sell it? I am local. And they will probably be like, all right. So that's my spiel. Check out the article I mentioned in the video description. Check out my video about EPKs. I have another video about performance rights organizations, or PROs. So make sure you're on a PRO if you're a songwriter. It's really important, and it gets you more money that you might have missed, especially if you're playing your own music live. You can get money just from doing that. It's pretty neat. Gosh, is there anything else? Probably, but this video is long, so I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. Please like, comment, subscribe below. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.